few communities that don't want the man to become engaged into a situation where they are not the head of
yes, what
situation.
you said was
so if you just want to be a pussy ass bitch, just say
listen. I'm not trying to trigger you.
All right.
Hey, beautiful. It's your girl, Rebecca Zahara.
And it's your girl, Aime. Hey.
And we are back with another episode of Falling Bell. We are not redoing that, yo. We're not.
I wish we would, because that's exactly what I was about to ask you. What the hell was that?
No, ma'am. We are back with another episode of Falling Bell. This is episode 7. The topic of the episode is I don't even know.
The feminization of black men. Is it? Dun 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 dun. That's supposed to be like.
I thought it was emasculating men.
No, I said the whole damn thing.
It was a confidence for me, so I didn't want to interrupt you while you were doing it.
She said, "Well, I thought it was."
We'll get started. Here's a brief disclaimer.
That means don't come for me unless I send for you, because I'm going to say what I thought and you can say what you thought and we can all just come to the table and say what we thought, but don't do that. Respect me, bruh. Respect me. Hear what I said. Hear me, bruh. I heard you. You want me to hear you? Comment below.
Anyway, all that to say, we're just here to start a conversation. That's it.
I mean, if everybody understood both those were good disclaimers.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You know what I'm saying? A little.
In whatever language you speak, you might need a little. And you might need a little. You know, so she gave you a little, and I just. Well, you can't see me doing that. You can't see me doing it, but understand that the hands, they throwing up signs, not gang signs. I don't even know how to throw gang signs, but signs nonetheless.
It's giving Spice Bay.
It's giving. Ooh. Okay.
So, I think we already went over the topic. If not, you know, I'll throw it up here. However, how did this topic come? Okay, so Esther brought this topic to my attention. And you tell me, how did this topic even come up in conversation for you?
So me and my boyfriend were talking about how so really it started out just kind of how statistics say that in the last 20 years men have had less testosterone and more estrogen in their systems, and how women are now, you know, gaining more testosterone than estrogen in their systems. Then he went on to tell me about this guy in the 1970s who did like a rat experiment. I cannot remember the name of the guy, so I don't want to misquote. But he did like 25 rat experiments, and the result was all the same. That they started out with like 4 rats. That those 4 rats had like babies until it was like 315 rats. Then evolution happened, and then the wretched rats came, and the wretched rats were just bigger rats, and they were going around killing everything. So as the wretched rats were doing that, they were killing the men, so there were less men rats, right? And then the women started becoming more aggressive towards their babies, so that way they could survive the wretched rats. And then so mortality rate went that went up, but the rate of women having babies, these are all rats, by the way, but the rate of them having babies started to go down. So then, during the period of wretched rats, became the beautiful rats. And the beautiful rats essentially were like, we don't need these females. They slowing us down. We don't need to do all of this. We just need to survive. So the beautiful rats were also dying, but they weren't even producing babies, so the rate of babies dying went even up higher. And during this time for the beautiful rats, they started even engaging in homosexuality. These are all rats. This is not people. They started engaging in homosexuality, which then also meant that no babies were being born because now the men are staying away from the women, and now they're creatures of nature and they need to have sex. So now they're doing it with each other, but no reproduction is occurring here. So now we're essentially now engaging in this and telling each other that it's okay to do it because we're surviving, right?
Mhm.
The last baby rat was born, and it got so bad till they extincted them. So what is it? That's
They
not,
became extinct. Did you
yeah,
just
they
say that?
killed each other. They ended up killing each other out. They died out. And he did that experiment 25 times. And each time the end result or solution was that they died out. But prior to that, they were, and this is once again not my opinion or anything. This is just the fact.
The
And when I talk to T, actually, I'm gonna get him to tell me the name of the experiment so that way you can put it in the thing. I mean, he go across the thing because it's not me. It's just this experiment that
yeah.
happened in the 1970s. And each time before the population died off, they fell into the I guess because we're human and we're humanizing it into a place where they rejected the females, and this is exactly what they did. They rejected the females and uh still nurtured their sexual practices within each other, which
Mhm.
then created homosexuality because of we're humanizing it, right? Which then created homosexuality, which depleted reproduction rates, which caused them to die off.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you for
And
sharing.
he did this experiment 25 times, and each time the same solution what
So
came.
how do you think that relates to, I guess, how do you think that relates to today?
Well, I think that now it's harder for men to be a man. I think that the thing that um, we honor men for or necessarily be wanting them to do when they do it in certain manners, which they have been doing for the turn of century, it is now we're in a world that everybody has an opinion and everybody is sensitive. This is me. This is me of my opinion. Feeling like everybody is really sensitive and that because you're so sensitive and men aren't really allowed to be men anymore.
So I wanna, before we continue, my question is, so what does that mean? Like when you say that men aren't allowed to be men, what does that mean? What does that look like when you break that down? And I'm asking for that clarity because a lot of the things that we look at that are boys will be boys are misogynistic, are toxic, are ways of toxic masculinity. And I don't think that that's necessarily
No,
what you're saying. So that's why I'm
no.
asking you to just clarify
I
on
think
like
that
what is it?
now we're able to, as a woman, I'm able to pay my own bills. I'm able to work. I'm able to probably make more money than you. I
Yeah.
can go to school. I can get my PhD. I can do all of that. I don't need you to do this. And so, even though I may want to get married, I walk into this marriage as if a whole entity here, and she bought the table. And I hear you. I hear you, sis. Yes, but when you walk into a marriage, the man is supposed to be the head. There are some sacrifices that you are supposed to be making here. And yes, it's unfair. It is. But the institution of marriage calls for this. And you can say what you want to say and you can make what you want to make it. And we can all make our own marriage when we want to make it. You know what I mean? But to do this, to make this go in the long run, however you want to do it, open relationship or not. Because that's the thing, right? There's polyamorous relationships, and there's just you know, there's a plethora of ways you can do this. There still have to be sacrifices made. So, because in the long run, we need to do this together. We need to live and die together because that's the whole point of marriage
So
is
I
to
think
not die alone.
my thoughts, and I want to say this, but then I also want us to circle back. So that because this can run into a whole another conversation in itself,
Oh yeah.
which we had recently. So I'll definitely, to be continued. But what I want to say to that is, I think often when people think about marriage or relationship, and they think about the things that we are bringing to this hypothetical table, the things that we are bringing they're never going to be equivalent. They're never going to be equivalent, because the purpose of us coming together are not to match, but to melt together and to elevate each other. So they don't need those things, don't need to be tick for tat, you know what I'm saying? As long as when we come together, whatever we are trying to create is evolving. If I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? If what I'm saying is, if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Mhm.
But anyway, to circle the block and go back to this topic of emasculating men, is there this hidden agenda? Tell me how that experiment you think relates to today. And because I know I believe you started off that experiment saying the statistic at the beginning.
So in the Black community, I just want to speak of the Black community because that's what one of the
That's your
things I'm
community.
better. In the Black community, let's say back in the 1960s, going into 70s, when welfare was really becoming a thing, and let's just say that not that the highest number of people using welfare are not Black people, and that's a proven fact. I just want to, I mean, did I say that right? Did I
Mhm,
say are not Black people?
mhm,
They're
yeah,
not Black people. So I just want to state that real fast. But when you're on welfare, you're not allowed to have a man in your home. And that was a rule that was decided more so then. And when your Black man is not allowed to live in your within your home, but you're needing assistance, you're having to make a decision on whether your man will be welfare or your man will be this Black man who is also needing assistance as well. So you began to make a choice of not needing your man because he's dying off or whatever for whatever reasons. Because we do know that drugs and gangs and police brutality and there's a series of
the
things going on.
structures that are essentially made to continue this process.
So now he's running into these barriers here, and his woman is not able to assist there because now she needs help. But if she's going to go get help, she can't have you with her
That help
to
you,
get that help.
right?
So you're between a rock and a hard place. She between a rock and a hard place. She chooses welfare. That's her man. She get into a contract with welfare instead. Now you have to figure it out, right? You find yourself in jail because as a Black man, it's very easy to find yourself in jail, especially in the 1960s, 1970s. Today, it's
Whatever.
very easy to find yourself in jail. And you become institutionalized. And within there's a whole community of men, not even to specify race, of men who are gay for jail. And they're not, so essentially, they're not really gay. This is me in my term, gay for jail, but they're gay for jail because as red blooded people, we are sexual beings, you know? And there are things that you you gotta do. You gotta bust a nut, bruh. You gotta bust a nut. Hey. And you find yourself in this place because, especially in our community, homosexuality is not looked on well. So even if you are a little bit whatever prior to jail, whatever, whatever, it is a hard pill to swallow. It seems to be a definitely hard pill for our older generation to swallow. I think that millennials and on, we're more so understanding, or actually, I don't know if I'm understanding. I just don't give a fuck. I don't care what you do. You do what you do. I do what I do. I'm not worried about what happens in your bedroom. I don't think you should be worried about what happens in my bedroom. Like, so I'm not like a
It's
PDA
just
kind of person.
it's just interesting to me whenever the conversation, and there's a few other things I want to bring up as well, but whenever this conversation about homosexuality or LGBTQ community, etc., come up, like this whole conversation is based off of things that we're probably never seeing. Like when it comes, you know what I'm saying? Like this is, and I say that in regards to whoever they choose to be in a relationship with or sleep with, because that's really what it is. Like, okay, you're sleeping with this person, like you're choosing to love this person, and it's like that is none of our
You're
business.
not even choosing to love this person because you do not have to love somebody you're sleeping
Exact
with.
to sleep with them. You do not love nobody to sleep with them, right?
Mhm.
However, like it's all based off of something that is like absolutely none of our business. Why is it our business who people sleep with?
Absolutely none of my business. I would hope that you would mind your business about what I do in my bedroom.
No.
Also, I'm just not into PDA like that anyway, so I don't want to see anybody kissing in the street. Call it what you want to call it, but I don't want to see anybody kissing in the street. So if I look at you funny, it's not because you're in like a same sex relationship. It's because you're out here in these streets kissing like that, and I will be looking at them like that too.
So,
That's
okay,
just because I'm judgmental across the board, you know.
so I have a question in
Mhm.
regards to the topic. When you were talking about, okay, so instead I'll ask this: What I feel like oftentimes when this topic of men being more feminine now than they used to be, I feel like that's clearly a result of many things. Just all these men are going to war. Like that's just not our lifestyle is different. There's so many things that have changed that can cause that outside of uh rather including what we are consuming socially,
That's
musically,
not
etc.
necessarily true because when I say that to say like
But my point,
we have.
let me finish. My point to say that was what is I what is this big deal of um black men, because since we're talking about black men or men in general, what is the issue
Can
with
you hear that?
these? I know. What is the it was like a whistling, but then it went away. What is the issue with this increase of uh feminine energy or estrogen since the data
So
shows
what is
that
the
there's an
issue
increase?
with it?
Yeah, that's I guess that's my question. Mhm.
Well, because a lot of people still want traditional. It's okay. So a lot of people still want traditional values with less traditional. I'm not sure what the what the word is was I was thinking, okay, women still want to be married and still want a man who can pay the bills. They know that they can rely on him to pay the bills and bring home the bacon to take care of these children. At the same time, women are wanting to be independent and to bring home their own damn bacon, which is cool. Which is cool. But you should not be resentful towards him when he's not bringing when you're deciding to take alpha place. A lot of women don't want to take the alpha place. A lot of women find themselves taking the alpha place because men now are us having babies is not enough now. Us bringing to the table, because we say that it's not supposed to matter what we bring to the table, right? But a huge question that I keep hearing men ask, and I've heard this now on about 7 different platforms, is what do you bring to the table?
Mhm.
Them specifically asking the woman, what does she bring to the table? As if her marrying you, dropping her name, and becoming your second by law, essentially, does not mean that she has now, like, you know what I mean? Like, you are now, you have now become the head of the snake here.
Mhm.
Like, you are now leading this, and as if what a woman bought 10 years ago, it's not enough now.
Mhm.
So it's as if this is me trying to like this is me trying to make sure that I say this correctly. Damn, I don't really know how to say it correctly, and I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it the way I'm thinking.
So I want you to gather your words.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so I was having a conversation with my friend Frankie on her Speak Love podcast about this "What do you bring to the table" conversation, and um, we were seeing several conversations, same as me and you were kind of talking about these things too. And I feel like my to you, and I feel like when this conversation comes to the table, it's clearly a person that doesn't see your value. Because I think that there's so many other ways. I think the intention of the question makes sense. However, when pursuing me, you should see my value. Whether that value is looks like you just trying to bust a nut, whether it looks like you're trying to build, whether it looks like a friendship, whether it looks like you're looking for a wife and you see wife potential in me, whatever those things that are, there's a reason that you are pursuing me in the first place. And I think that nothing's wrong with the intention of the question, but there's so many other ways to figure out if there are things that you can't physically see about what someone could bring, whether that is someone who is nurturing. So, and there's just so many other ways that you can figure out these, whatever the questions are, I think that you have regarding a person outside of devaluing them by asking a question like that. But anyway, back to if you have found the verbiage.
I personally just believe that nowadays, in the environment that we're in, it is everybody has an opinion, and while that's cool or whatever, a lot of opinions are put forth with more value than they should. And I do believe that, okay, so men are going to work. Like, in our lifetime, we have been in war longer than not in our lifetime. I know plenty of men, especially because maybe because I live in Texas now, so I'm seeing this more often. But even when I was in New York, I also know a lot of men who were joining the military, and you know what I mean, and going off.
I'm not saying that that is not true. I'm just saying in comparison to then, now, which I'm saying all of what my point in saying that was that there's multiple things, um, out there's just multiple factors that I think have evolved and changed over time that could also be contributing to, that estrogen level. But my question also is when we talk about this topic, um, I feel like when I talk black men specifically, I feel like white men have always had this ability to, and we know why, but to kind of have that duality or balance and being comfortable in that feminine energy and also, being comfortable in that masculine energy and just being able to have more of that balance and being able to kind of ebb and flow through those in a way that no other man has, especially the black man who has historically always been, who the white man has historically tried to emasculate, especially in front of his people. And so I feel like that has also resulted in so many men, black men specifically, who are so far removed from their emotions, which is why so many women end up in relationships dating emotionally unavailable men. However, that is that aside, I feel like that has made our Black men kind of just not balanced. And I think whenever you are not balanced in that energy, that is not good. So I question, is this is this really a overproduction of estrogen, or overproduction, if we're talking about energetically, of them, or is it truly an imbalance in them tapping into their feminine energy when they've never been in a place of balance before? So I guess that's my question as well, because we haven't seen, you know what I'm saying? We haven't seen it. Now we're having so many discussions. We're having so many discussions in regards to therapy and this in regards to our emotions and all of these things, that so many things, including the pandemic, has forced us to confront. So is it a horrible thing that is occurring?
That's a yes or no thing. I don't know, horrible. I do know that traditionally
Speaking
speaking,
for me.
my values didn't change. I still want a man who is going to bring home the bacon. And I don't know if I necessarily want to be a housewife, but I would like an option. I
Mhm.
would like the option. Now, I don't know if necessarily I wouldn't be bringing in any money because that sounds wild to me. But I do want to be able to depend on you to know that you got us, me, and whatever future pitneys we might or may not bring into this world. You know what I mean? And I do want to be led. That being said, I totally think I do a good damn job of making my own damn decisions. I've gotten this motherfucking far, right? But it's something real sexy about it. It'd be like, we're going left. And then we go left, and it's really
So I have a
good.
question.
It's
All of this you're saying is great, fine. What does that have to do with, what does a man's ability to lead have to do with his masculinity or feminine or femininity? What does that
I
have to
think a
do?
lot of times that
I think it may change the
that
way
puts a
that you
woman
think,
into a position
but
of having to lead when
but
you're less masculine than she may be. And
but then
we're now,
this is why I bring it back to the space of balance, because we're also in this conversation, you also mentioned that women are also becoming more masculine,
yeah, that's what I'm
or
saying. You're
creating more
becoming,
testosterone, right?
mhm.
So I feel like in a way we can kind of say the same for women. Women haven't had to depend on themselves. So were women then too much in their femininity? And now it's like you I
I
kind
mean,
of
it
ask
was built up that women had to end up being independent. And at the end of the day, in the world that we live in, it has been built up that a woman has to figure it out, or she may
a
to
black
just
woman.
solve a black woman. It is made up that more times than not, and this is not the rule of thumb. There are plenty of good fathers out there, good black fathers out there, good black men out there. But in the world that I've lived in, and the world that my friends, a lot of my friends have lived in,
Mhm.
um, we watched our mothers do this on their own,
Yeah.
and I watched myself do it on my. I had a child. I have a child. And his father never, not once, was like, "Oh, okay, I made a child. Let me be accountable for what I did." And so a lot of times it just becomes. So it puts me in a place of having to become the leader here, and having to make decisions, and having to be alpha.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I have to do the work to be ready to be with someone else at this point, find myself, right, and want to take the the position of, I guess you would call it beta, because in the Greek language it's alpha beta, so AB, you know. But that second position, the neck position, really. And if I'm going to take that position, I would hope that the head is masculine enough to take the head position. Does that make sense?
So what make okay, so
So with the
I
influx of
hear
less masculine men,
I
it
hear what
might
you're
be
saying.
difficult.
I hear what you're saying. However, I think that that balance looks different for everyone. Like that balance in regards to how masculine or feminine or how much of that energy someone brings, if we're talking energetically, that people have, you know what I'm saying? People show up differently. And so what you may be looking for in terms of masculinity in a man might not be the same balance that someone else needs. So do you see what I'm saying? Like it's all subjective.
Mhm. I can see that. I don't have a firm, I want to say I don't have a firm standing.
Mhm,
I do know that, I guess, because we're living in less traditional times,
mhm.
values kind of have to catch up. Not values, but maybe values. Maybe the word is values have to catch up to the times, because now a lot of men don't want to pay all the bills. They don't want to be the sole caregiver. Um, they would like you to push forth as much as they push forth, and I feel like that becomes subjective because,
There are some people that will be okay with that, and there's other people that won't be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like if I'm putting my life on the line, though, there should be some. I'm just gonna be honest here, and this doesn't even necessarily work because not everybody wants to have children. So that's why I'm saying this is all me. I'm putting my fucking life on the line to have your big headed ass babies. I want to know that you got us. Period. I want to know that you got us, me, and your big headed ass babies. Like, and I want to know that the lifestyle that I was affording myself prior to you bringing your big headed self round here, that you can afford me that as well. And I don't think that you should step into this dating pool unless you can do what I was doing or better. And I feel like, because I've had to do for me this whole time, that I'm a soldier. So if you can't bring warrior energy up in here to kind of handle my soldier energy, I don't know if that's the word.
I feel like what I'm gonna say is gonna be super controversial.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Do you feel like there's a certain kind of black man that says that is the reason? A
I was
certain
giving
type-
Jessica Rabbit.
There's a certain type of black man that says that everything that you just described is the reason that they don't date black women.
Because I want a man to be able to hold me down. Is that what I said? Because
Because of all the things
white
that
women
you
want
say
the
that
same.
because no, I'm not, this is not me in agreement. But there's a
Okay.
certain type of man
White
that
women
says
want the
that
same. Asian women want the same. There's very few communities that don't want the man to become
no,
engaged
what you
into a
said,
situation where they are not the head
yes,
of
yes,
the situation.
what you
So
said
if you just want to
was,
be a pussy ass bitch,
listen,
just say
listen.
that.
I'm not trying to trigger
Now,
you.
what I said was controversial. You just want to be a pussy ass bitch who don't be accountable
Stop
for the
being
things that they do in
triggered.
life, then do that. Just say that. But if you don't and you want to hold your shit down, then say that as well.
Stop being triggered. What I said was
But
there's a certain type of black man that says that what I also heard you say was that you know that you're a warrior. You've been having to do for yourself. You've been having to show up in this way. And so you need a man that carries more masculine energy than you, is what you said. And so what I'm saying is there's a certain group of men that say that all of that extra masculine energy, all of this, because you're gonna you know what they say. You know what they say. All of that, or there's a certain group of men that say everything that you just described is the reason why they won't date black women. What do you say to those? What do you say to those men? Let me pass you the mic.
I once again say that if you want to be a pussy ass bitch, just say that. Just say that. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this energy here, I'm not disrespectful. I'm not disrespectful to my man. I'm not, I just would like to know that you are confident in what you're saying because I have led myself this far. Up until you decided to step up in these games, I've been doing a pretty damn good damn job of leading myself. When you walked over here, you saw that I was living in a life of luxury, baby. Whatever that luxury was, you saw that it was peaceful around here, okay? So when you brought your ass around here, I wanted to maintain that. And if you were mad at me for wanting to maintain my peace, then you want to be a pussy ass bitch, just say that. Just say that. But don't bring your ass up in my energy and think that you can go ahead and throw hurricanes and tornadoes and shit and like my warrior ass who's been having. The thing is that a man that's attracted to me is attracted to my strength. And that's really what it is there. Because I've been through more than most. So I'm not everybody's kind of spice. I was using some Cajun seasoning last night. That hoe was spicy. And it was actually spicier than the actual other Tony Chichibwe, whatever, that one. Cajun seasoning. I was like, woo, if you all just be spicy, just say that. If you just wanted to put red pepper in the Cajun seasoning, just say that. I'm red pepper. I'm red pepper. T liked it. T loved it. That's what mattered. Is that I was spicy enough for the man that was sitting next to me. I'm a spicy motherfucker. I've been through a lot of shit in life and I handle it with a nice, chunky, thick, pristine, shiny. There's little jewels in there too, but it's heavy. The armor is heavy. So I'm not everybody's kind of horchata. Some people like the horchata with a little bit of ice. Some people like their watered down with a lot of bit of ice. I'm a little bit of ice. Thick. So once again, this is me, not you. I don't believe that you should ever say because of this attitude right here, though, that's why you're not dating Black women. There are plenty of raggedy, spicy. I didn't have to do raggedy. I didn't have to say raggedy. I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to say that.
You saw how that made me feel immediately?
There are plenty of spicy ass other women in other cultures, other nationalities, other blah blah blahs. Okay? Whatever you're, identifying as.
And if we're keeping it a buck, if we're gonna take it there, let's take it there. Cause y'all call them spicy. Y'all don't call us spicy.
And you like that
For
spicy.
doing the same shit. For doing the
You
same
like
shit.
that. You like that in your face spicy. And let's just talk about that. As warrior as I am, I'm not even that kind of spicy. That's a whole nother kind of toxic kind of level thing. I don't even like that. I don't like to raise my voice. I don't like to argue. I don't like to do none of that. I don't want to. At this point in life, if it does not serve me, I don't have time for it. If it's not a peaceful movement, I don't argue. We have debates.
I think it's often the real issue, I think, is another issue. I don't even call it the real issues. There's so many issues. But an issue is that when Black women choose to not accept and choose to honor their boundaries and choose to stand up for themselves and choose to speak up for themselves and choose to just stand up in the fullness of themselves and be confident and strong in it, it is a problem for the world.
The world. I think that we are viewed as we're viewed as stronger than we may want to be viewed as. Where it's supposed to be that we can handle pain more than others for some reason. It's supposed to be that we can handle abuse verbally, mentally, sexually more than others, at younger ages than others. Um, they sexualize us at way younger ages than any other race I've ever seen in my life, and than any other race I've ever seen in my life. Our young girls are preyed upon more, even bone deep to our bone marrow, our body parts, our organs are supposed to be viewed as better, as stronger. The melanin on my skin is worth more than gold. And so we are harvested. This is not me saying it with my conspiracy theorist ass, because I do like the conspiracies. This is actually facts. You can look it up. And so we're perceived as, it's like we're intimidating. I'm just trying to go around it. We're intimidating. We intimidate. Our
It's
very presence intimidates others. I appear more confident than I really am.
it's crazy to think that people are so because what is intimidation? Why are you intimidated? Because of fear. A fear of what? You are so fearful, so you become abusive. That's really
And
sad.
not being able to be held accountable. I think a lot of men aren't able to be held accountable.
Because when that
And
mirror is held in front of you, it's really confronting.
it's very confronting. And so then you say things like, oh, well, I wouldn't date a black woman because of that attitude right there. But
It's
they're
like, do you
probably not
respect?
peaches and creams yourself.
Whenever I hear this shit, I'm just like, do you respect your mother? And I know a lot of people don't, but like, you got some healing to do, baby. Like, I just,
It's you being in a relationship with another person of a whole nother race and still doing to them what you did to us, for me.
no, no,
But
hold on. I, I don't think the girl's in the back.
I don't even feel like I needed to repeat that because you heard me. You heard me, bitch. You heard me, bitch. It's you sitting your ass in that damn corner, still cheating on that Asian woman, that white woman, the Indian woman, the woman. It's you sitting your ass in that corner talking about that's why I don't date black bitches, but still going out to drink with your boys, not hearing what the fuck I said when I said I was tired and these kids is driving me up a wall. And can you help me, please? But yet it's my black ass that's the problem. Because I probably would have made a stink when you decided to walk your ass about this house. And so at the end of the day, you didn't want to be held accountable. And if that's the point, just say that. Just say that, baby. Just say that. Say you wanted to be with someone who didn't hold you accountable. Because last time I checked, you're also not with the white, Indian, Latin, blah, blah, blah woman who hold your ass accountable. You're not with her neither. So let's not make it a race thing and just that I don't want to be held accountable thing.
So
I
check this
heard that.
out. I saw this video. You going on this rant reminded me
Ah,
of this
I
video.
am. I
It was
am.
no, it was great. It was wonderful. I didn't mean it in any bad way. Um, I saw this video where, and I pray that I can find it so I can send it to you. Um, it was a video of this Caucasian woman, and she said it was a TikTok, and
Oh, I saw that too.
she
You
was
think people
like,
put it in there?
she was are you talking about the same one where she was like, let's keep it a buck. There's a whole group. Well, she didn't say let's keep it a buck, but y'all know what I'm saying. She was like, let's keep it a buck. There's a whole group of black men that specifically target and prey on fat, insecure white women and
I
treat
would
them
say
like
overweight.
yeah, oh yeah. That's what she said. That's the word she said. That's the word she said.
Okay.
I'm not saying I respect y'all. Overweight. Overweight Caucasian women and prey on them to because they're insecure and know that they'll probably just accept less because you know they want that attention, they want to be loved, they want relationship too. They prey on them so that way they don't have to take accountability and actually have to care for themselves, and so they live off of these women, etc. And so that's that reminded me of.
So last I checked, women come in different varieties. And most of the varieties are spicy. Say what you need to say what you need to say. There's mild spicy, there's extra spicy. Most of the varieties sit somewhere up in there. Now there are some blands. There are some blands. You know what I mean? There's some there's some salties. You know what I mean? But that didn't happen just to black people. White women will run your ass too. And I done seen some overweight, insecure white women running there. Run them out. Okay? So I've seen it. So I know in the beginning when we started this, it was all about like the demasculation of men, right? Emasculation of men, whatever the word is. What's the word?
You really want me to say
Yeah.
it? Because sometimes, people say, what's the word they say because they're thinking
No.
emasculating.
Oh, emasculating. Thank you. Yeah, no, no. I really wanted you to say. I didn't know what it was. Emasculating of men. But I think more so it evolved more so into what I guess the preference would be in having a man show up. And it sounded more so like my preference because you didn't give your preference. So I wanted to ask you. You see how I did that? You see how I did that? You see how I did that? Sweet. So I wanted to ask you. You're a single woman.
You sound a what?
You're a single woman out here living on your own, making it happen, paying bills, driving, moving businesses, and thriving and stuff. What do you need? How do you need a man to show up? Is it masculinity? Are you? Well, who are you? What are you? What are you? What kind of question is that? You get the question.
I think, I think, earlier you described yourself. What did you describe yourself as? A red chili pepper. I
I
am a
did not say I
microdose.
was a red chili pepper. I'm a Scotch bonnet.
I am a microdose. And I know I can be very confronting because I realized looking back in so many of my relationships how much of a mirror I held up for them and how confronting that was. Because I realized I do the same thing for myself. Like I'm just super relentless in my personal evolvement, and so if you are with me and in my space, you have to be just as relentless. Like I also realize that can be confronting as fuck for me, but I welcome it because that's going to
And
help
you
me
not necessarily have to be as relentless as you, but you have to be able to
for
handle
you. I mean,
someone
like for
as
yourself.
relentless.
I mean, for yourself, not like for me, but like I mean, like that
Yeah,
dedication for your
they just
evolvement.
need to be able to handle. I personally believe that someone just needs to be able. I think that someone does not necessarily need to be as relentless in their self improvement as you, but they just need to be able to handle the energy that you carry in your pursuit of self
Especially because
improvement.
like I am like I'm when people say that they're constantly changing, like people be chatting. Like I am literally constantly changing. Like I be having to look at myself like, and even earlier today when we were having a conversation, like I don't remember what it was exactly, and I was just like, wow, I remember now. I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that about myself. And so me constantly noticing these things about myself, I'm diligent in making sure that like, okay, when I see those things appear, if those are not things that like I like about myself, that I'm just diligent in repairing them and evolving them and fixing them. So each version of me, baby, gets better and better. Okay. But I need someone that is not going to expect to see me in the same way that they met me. And I think that that's been a problem for a lot of people. I think
Yeah,
that my my diligence in my pursuit to just be better and to just create can be confronting for people that are not confident in the fullness of themselves. And so I think that I need someone who is balanced. I think that it will be useful for me to have someone who is very in touch with their emotions though, because that is something that I'm constantly working on. Like because it's a constant effort for me to Like, I'm
Yeah,
very
that's
intentional about being vulnerable and just being honest about my emotions because that's something that I have not done. So, I think having someone that shows up in that way is something that's important for me, but that might not be important for other people. And so I think that there are spaces in how I show up that I need balance, especially on that like emotional aspect and patience there. But I also think in other ways I'm super strong and relentless, and I also need someone that can be like, slow down, like, and while I'm intentional in doing that for myself, having that reassurance, like, hey, like, even when we were talking earlier, we were talking about an accomplishment, like a compliment we received in the podcast. And then I was like, ooh, what else can we fix about the podcast? Instead of enjoying that moment and enjoying that compliment. I'm like, ooh, what else can we improve? So that way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm constantly thinking about it's like, and things are fine just as they are, right where I am. Like, and so I think sometimes I need someone that is a reminder, like,
because while change is great and you're in the space of evolution, so
yeah,
you're looking for like your next biggest, okay, the next best thing, the next biggest change, the next best thing to evolve yourself and make yourself better. Sometimes you do just need to sit in the space that you're
yeah,
just currently occupying because you are enough right now. And
exactly.
while you're trying to do this evolution thing, you also have to realize that yeah, you're making yourself better, you're making yourself
Mhm.
better, but that's as if to say that yourself
You are
as of
not enough right
now
now.
is not good enough,
Exactly.
and that's a
Exactly. So that's a like
that's a tricky place.
that's a balance in which I'm working on because I'm like I be in tears like wow even now like if y'all see you know we haven't talked about the background but the girl is finally outside of New York yeah okay new life baby new life new
Can
number
we do a clap, a big clap? Because there might be an apartment tour one day. Maybe if she does an apartment tour, I could do an apartment tour. Because if you can see, she's added babies. There's a lot of babies too. There's a lot of babies. Because when I had my baby, I decided to not just have one baby, but to have a bunch of
a
babies.
starting lineup let me stop.
You hear me? There's a football team of plants up in here because I don't got no baby. You know I got no baby.
So I think like even in this transition like I'm so grateful. I'm like, I'd be like, girl, like just thinking about even when I went to Texas last week, whatever week, when I went to Texas and I was catching up with my friend's mom, and we were just reminiscing, like we were reminiscing because she knows everyone, like she knows me since I was like in the sixth grade, like that's like a second mom, like she knows me, and so like me and her were like on the verge of tears, literally, like just reminiscing, just talking, like wow. And even for me to think, like, I be looking like how I was living, like, how the fuck did you figure it out and make it here, bro? Like, I am shook. I'm shook. I'm shook at that I've been here a month and my place is almost fully furnished. Where did this abundance come from? Huh, praise God. Hallelujah. Shout out to my ancestors. Shout out to my spirit guides. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Things are just happening. I'm just like, whoa. It's it's crazy to think about all the things that I see manifested physically now that I was thinking about. It's
Yeah,
like,
it feels really good. Feels really good. I can say that yeah, feels really good. Stability feels good, bro. Stability feels good. I know that as a child, of like remembering as a child of a person who had mental health issues, and not to say not everybody has, like, everybody's fine, right? Everybody has mental health issues, but more, some that were just more prevalent than others. I remember that the one thing that I always wanted to do, and this is why I have the capability of becoming a hermit, is because I remember just wanting to feel safe. I remember just wanting to not have to be moving around on the run, scared somebody's gonna find us. Like my mom's mental health issue became my own. Somebody was gonna find me and all this. I got adopted this, and I don't have that mental health issue. That's not my issue. But as a child, it was like I was on the run. And so that affected me different. And then I went into foster care, and then was like really on the
That
run. It felt like
reinforced, like, oh shit, someone's really feeling at me. The hell?
because they got us, because they got us. And then then I was like put out, so I felt like I was outcasted, and I literally was outcasted because I wasn't just kicked out of my home, but like all the adults that were around that was supposed to be able to even be like they weren't even able to ask me what happened. They weren't even able to, the way that it was set up, they were afraid to even ask me what happened, where am I, why don't I see you, why don't I hear from you anymore, you just disappeared, what's going on. They weren't, because they couldn't help, they weren't allowed to help. And to be able to do something like completely remove myself from the only place that I know of home, because that was what New York was for your girl. Even though it was the struggle home, it was home. Okay. To be able to remove myself from that situation, to come to a place that, like, yeah, I came to visit or whatever, but when you come visit some, you always see the nice things. I seen it as a tourist. So the places that, it's so funny, the places that I've seen as a visitor, I'd never even like went back to as a person living here. But to put myself in a completely unknown situation of my own fruition, of my own doing, and to, in my case, come with 2 weeks worth of business clothes, like you don't need to sleep and nothing. It was the best thing I ever freaking did. It was the scariest thing I ever did too. It was really scary because I left my baby back home in New York, and I had to figure out, I still got clothes in New York.
That's the ridiculous part.
but but I am stable. I am not scared or worried about where I'm about to lay my head, if it is safe for me to do so in the place that I am currently paying rent to do so. I was really afraid a lot of times. There were a lot of times I was really afraid, and there were people who were like outside my door threatening to beat me up, and literally because they just wanted the space that I was paying for, and not because of anything that I did, but because I got there first. And oh yeah, I remember being being really scared. I remember just being really scared, and it really messing with my quality of life. Living in a house of smokers, cigarette smokers, and it was definitely messing with my quality of life. And to know that I definitely was told prior to bringing my behind out here that I was not going to be able to do it because there was no safety net. And I was so curious as to where was the safety net when I was homeless, sleeping on my friend's floor because her son was pissing in the bed. And so I couldn't even sleep in the bed. Where was that safety net then? I didn't even hear from the person who said there was a safety net during that time. That whole time. I didn't even hear from this person. And to know that the net was me, the net is me. I am the net. I'm the safety net. I am it because I keep myself safe. I got this. I can actually handle this and do it well. Not like handle it and like I'm just surviving, but like I'm handling it to the point where now I am bougie,
Talk your
or
shit.
I'm choosing to be bougie.
Talk
Like I
your
used to
shit.
look at that back in the time when I was like a peasant and shit. Like, oh my god, you can't even say that. What the fuck that shit is that? Oh my god, that bitch is bougie. Well, I'm that bitch.
It's giving me like, and I feel so many things that you said that I relate to, especially like that safety aspect. You know, especially in my last phase, there was like so much trauma. I was so traumatized. Like I had nightmares. Like it was just so to be able to come in a place where I know that I'm just safe. Like no one knows where I'm at. Like I I'm just safe. Like that peace of mind is priceless.
Something else.
That peace of mind is really priceless. And there was something else that you just said. What did you just say?
The bougie.
The bougie. Like I used to be able to think that, we're not you too good. Because some people, be like, oh, you too really too. I am too good.
I
And I
actually
get it.
am.
And I get it.
Yeah, I actually
I
am
am
too good
I
for
am too
this.
good for that.
I really am. And I don't feel bad saying it.
I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, when I was a peasant, hear me, when I had my peasant mentality, I didn't know no better. So of course I was like, because at that time this was as good as it was gonna get. So I can't I have to put that shit down so that I don't want it. You know what I mean? It do look nice and glamorous over there, but it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. Because that's what I had to say to myself to survive. But uh bitch, yes, it is for you. What are you talking about? What's for you will always be for you. Shut up.
And it's always been for you. But that perspective, that shift shifts everything.
Back to me getting my minivan, y'all. Because yes, I'm getting a minivan. I really don't want to get a minivan.
My mama had this minivan. My mama had, I'm gonna call her Big Red. My mama had Big Red, and she was a minivan too. So Esther's already the twin of my mother, and so she might be looking like Eileen.
But y'all, if y'all see me out there riding my minivan, just ask me to see it because I'm about to build that hoe up. She's gonna be the bombest camper minivan around. Okay, you hear me? I'm about to build that up. And then I'm gonna be out there in the middle of the woods, not your woods though. You won't know about it because I'll be safe. Either way, I'll be in the middle of the woods somewhere cooking bacon and eggs. You hear me? When you smell that bacon and eggs, you're gonna be like, I wonder if that is Amy out there in the middle of that section in that minivan. But I just want to live my best life. And I know that there was a time when I looked at that as, I don't know, I just looked down on it. And it's so crazy that in my luxurious life, the things that I find luxurious, the things that I'd be like, oh, nature? Oh, hammock? Laying in nature with hammock and net and bug spray? Oh, call me! Because I don't like bugs. But I'm a glamathon. Ooh. I just slipped out.
This be that shit.
I'm the whole glamathon, bitch. Get it together. Okay.
Well, forget it forever.
Could never be forgotten, though.
Yeah, but that was the rest of your sentence.
No, that wasn't the rest of my sentence because I could never be forgotten, though.
Oh. Get it. I was just trying to help.
Not the right way. Forget it forever. Bitch, you'll never forget me. You see this one time, you remember this forever.
Well, that's what they be saying, though, right? Like, that's the rest of it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Is that a song for real?
No, it's not a thing that little girls be saying. Kind of like, my mama short and fine. She got a butt like mine. And when we walking down the street, them cars go beep, beep, beep. Them cars go beep.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's as a neck roll, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I was trying to make the tatas bounce, but you can't really see the cleavage.
Anyway, we've talked about a lot of things.
We've talked about a lot of things. So this is the topic of a lot of things.
So I'm going to just name this a lot of things. Anyway, thank you for joining us on another episode of Calhoun.
And I'm your girl, Amy.
Y'all already know I'm Rebecca Zahara.
Please go ahead and press that dingy button on the side if you haven't, so you know when we drop another one. Subscribe it! Like
And look,
and comment.
I know we've been gone for a minute, but now we're back.
Now I'm back with the, what is it? I've been gone for a minute. Now I'm back with the SmackDown.
It's not jump
Oh,
off.
it's jump off? Oh, it's jump
Oh.
off. Been gone for a minute. Now I'm back with the jump off. Queens in the house, take some jump off. So back off all your groupies and gold diggers. Oh, I think that's a whole nother song.
Anyway, we've been gone for a minute, but now we're back. I will adjust that. I'll adjust that as well because I had a lot going on. But anyway, we back. Until next time. See you later. Adios. Now Ebita. Peace.
Get into these nails though.
All right. Bye.
Peace.